Hi everyone, it's Lynn. Welcome to block number 4. This one I'm calling the Christmas Carol block. So I know it's a few months before that time of year, but we should get this done anyway. So anyway, want to show you what we're working on and the fabric requirements, but I think this is a really interesting block. And if you'll notice the quilt behind me, you can see that this is the block that I blew up to make the center of the quilt. So I think it's real interesting, and if you can kind of visualize behind me what we did. And I'll point out a difference in the block and then what I did in this one behind me. But honestly, you can do it either way, so hopefully that'll make sense. So here's the block that we're doing, and this is the Christmas Carol block, and I just want to break it down for you. Again, if you're looking at the pattern, if you haven't bought it, please, it's in the links below, and just it's supporting me, so, and I appreciate that, and I'm very grateful for that. Anyone who hasn't bought the pattern, or you can still do this, but you have to know a little bit more about quilting and all that kind of stuff. The pattern lays it all out for you. So what you're going to need in the pattern, just know that if I say fabric number 1, it's that same color throughout every block. Fabric number 2 is the same color throughout every block. So I try to be really consistent in saying what they are. And again, these are Kona cotton solids. So they should be available and you can find them. So what you're going to need for this block is you're going to need to cut 8, and it's going to end up like this, but you're going to need to cut 8 3-inch squares of the ice fapre, which is fabric number 1. Then you'll need to cut 1 2.5-inch square, which is the clover, and that's this really green. That's going to be your center, and that's 2.5 inches. And then you're going to cut 4 2.5 by 4.5 pieces. And this is called Dusty Peach. It looks pink to me, but that Kona calls it Dusty Peach. So that's this, which you'll see these are the bars that we've done for the past 3 blocks. So, I mean, these should look kind of familiar to you. And then you need to cut 2 squares of both the crocus, which is a purple color, and the melon, which is a kind of a pinky kind of coral color. And then you'll cut 4... Oh, and I didn't pull this out. But you'll cut 4 of a 3-inch square that is this, what they call cactus color, which is that kind of green color. And you'll see it when, I just forgot to get that out. So the first thing that you're going to do after you get all those cut, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the ice fapre, which is fabric number 1, and you're going to match it to all the melon, all the crocus, and all the cactus, which is this green color blocks. Okay, and then you're going to match them right sides together. It's solid, so either side is fine. If you are using a print and not using the solids, you do right sides together. Okay, so then you're going to take the right sides together, put them together. You're going to take either the magic wand, which you've seen me use, and a pencil, and go down either side. If you don't have the magic wand, you can do it with your ruler. And you're going to go corner to corner, and you're going to draw a center line. And then from that center line, you'll do a 1/4 inch line corner to corner, and then you're going to draw with a pencil. You can do it with a pen. The sewing line. And then you're going to turn it over, and you'll do, again, lining up your 1/4 inch line on the corners of the square and draw your other line, okay? So I think you can barely see that because I did it with pencil, but you can see it. So then you're going to sew on all of those. So you will have 8 of these. 2 will have melon on the back, 2 will have the crocus on the back, and the other 4 will have this cactus color. Okay, then after you've got those sewn, you're going to cut them apart. So if I cut apart the crocus, if I cut apart the Which one? Where did it go? Oh, no. Yeah, so if I cut apart the crocus, I will have purple and this ice frappe on one side. Then you are going to take that and you are going to, wait, I got to get this right. You're going to take that and you are going to trim these to 2.5 inch. So you're making a 2.5 inch half square triangle. Okay? Now, let me say this because I get asked this. I got asked this the other day and I thought it was a great question. And so I want to explain what they asked me and then why I teach it this way. All right, for example, when you are doing half square triangles, which is what this unit is, when you're doing a half square triangle, a lot of times people will tell you to cut it 2 7/8 if you want it to finish at 2.5. Okay? And that means before you sew it, this is going to be 2.5 inches. Okay? So if I cut my original square, this original square, 2 7/8, and I cut this original square 2 7/8, and I sew them on just like we did with this, right? And I sew that and I cut it apart and I flip it open and I iron it and I press to the dark. Your instructions may say to press it open. Honestly, I press everything to the dark side, but I know it's a big trend to press open. I got feelings about that. That's in another video. You can check it out. Anyway, if you press it, this should measure 2.5 inches. Okay? Now, that is a very, if you're being told to cut something 2 7/8 to get a 2.5 inch half square triangle, what they are saying to you is they believe you're the most accurate piecer and cutter available, right? Because that actually mathematically, if I did that perfectly and there's no room for error, I'm going to get a perfect half square triangle. Now, you will notice my instructions say to cut it 3 inches. Now, the 3-inch line's easier to see, especially for beginner quilters, and that's easier to cut on. Okay, so that's why I have you do that. As well as, I know that 9 times out of 10, people struggle a little bit with having a consistent 1/4 inch seam. So if you are a little, newer to this, and this is, one of your first times doing half square triangles, although I think we did some in the last one, but I just want you to give that leeway so that if you're not sewing exactly on the line or your pressing's not perfect yet and you're getting better, every time you do this, you get better. What this allows you to do is when you press it open after you've sewn it and cut it and you press it open, and let's say it's just a hair bigger and it's really like a 1/16 bigger, it just makes sure that when I trim this down, and I can either use the block lock, which I had here for a second ago, or I can, it's right here. I can use this block lock ruler, which again, I am not sponsored, and this will show me that 2.5 inch, or I can use this ruler, right, and I can look at 2.5 inches. Okay, 2.5 inches. 2.5 inch, 2.5 inch. So, but please, 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 please be sure to always, always trim up between each step. So even though I've told you to do this with the 3-inch, I'm still assuming that you're going to need to trim something to make this 2.5 inches exactly. This will go together better, especially when you're dealing with all these little seams. It'll go better together if you trim. So I always trim up between the steps. I do it every time. So you'll notice these are trimmed up. So now what I do is I come back over here and I look at my layout, and I always lay these out so I know exactly how I'm going to do this. So you'll notice, and I kind of start up from the top and I go across like this. So I'm doing, I know that's an extra one. I know I'm going to have these right here. This is my bottom one. Oops, the bottom's this way. And then this is, okay, so, okay, wait. This goes this way. I didn't do this right. All right, dum-ba-bum. Okay. Da-da-da. Now, okay, so I just want to show you how this is done. So what I would do is I would take, let me turn this like this. Okay, so what I would do if I'm sewing this together, and I do want you to look at what's behind me. Okay, this is the way that am I doing this right? Yeah, like that and like that, yeah. Okay, this is the way I laid it out for this block, but I switched it up behind me for the big one, and I'm just going to show you. Notice how these two green triangles, and these are the cactus colors that you were cutting 3-inch blocks out of. Notice how those two are pointing towards the center at the top and away from the center at the midway, away and towards. Okay, see how that is? Now notice in the one behind me, okay, notice I did it completely opposite. Like I turned those a little bit. I just thought it had a better look. That's the only reason I did it. And I like the way it looked. You can do it either way. Just so as long as you're consistent. I truly think that as long as you're consistent, it'll work either way. So if you decide to turn all of the green in, it's going to look fine. But this is what I did. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these two, and if you press to the dark, these will lock in really easily, and it'll allow you to sew that line. And then you're going to press it open. It'll look like this. Then you take those two pieces and you sew them together. And because they're all pressed to the dark, they lock together with that, you can see right next to it. See how it kind of locks together, that it presses up against each other. So then when you press it open, you get that really nice point where they match. And that's what you're going for in these. That's really what you're looking for in these. So then you do that for those two. Then you sew this to this and this to this. I sew this to this and this to this. Then I get two sections. I have one section, two, three sections. Then I sew top to the middle, bottom to the middle, press, and then I have the Christmas Carol block. I really thought it was fun. Super easy. All I'm doing is I'm just building these different little, corners, essentially with this same kind of cross design, so that you can see how they match up. And if you're in the behind the scenes group, I show you, I think last week I showed you 5 or 6 different ways to just combine the blocks that we've already done and show you different ways that you can use them. So please check that out if you're interested. Okay, that's what we have for this week. Please enjoy this one. I think this is a fun block. It really doesn't take long to get together. And if you'll notice, these points go together really easy, and I like the contrast and just how cheery this block is. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends. And all the other blocks are posted, so if you haven't, or if you're just seeing this one for the first one, catch up. You can do the other 3 blocks. They're all Kona cotton solids. The link is below for the classes that you can sign up for, or if you just want to buy the pattern, you can do that. I would really appreciate it if you do, but no problem if you don't. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.